It's very simple, JD. He loses, it's rigged, and they cheated. He wins, everything worked out great. Why is that so hard for you to admit?
Yeah, hi, Brian. And, today's comments on Tulsi Gabbard and RFK and Kash Patel, you stated outrightly that Tulsi Gabbard is a Russian asset.
I believe she is, yeah.
How can you make that?
Sure.
How can you make that statement? What's the proof?
Sure. So, first of all, Tulsi Gabbard, like Donald Trump, failed to call out Vladimir Putin for anything. In fact, when she is asked, like when Donald Trump is asked, who do you want to win this war in the Ukraine? If you're not willing to answer that question and say we want Ukraine, our allies, to win after they were invaded by an evil, murderous dictator, then I think most people would consider that person an asset to Russia. Number two, do you remember after 9/11, when we had terrorists across the country, including the Taliban, Al-Qaeda, celebrating and jumping up? Well, guess what? After it was announced that Tulsi Gabbard was picked by Donald Trump, there's video evidence that when the Kremlin and Russians learned about this, they were doing the same types of celebrating. So you have somebody that is not willing to call out Vladimir Putin for anything, by the way, the war atrocities, you name it, the war crimes, you name it. They're actually praising Vladimir Putin the way Donald Trump does, the way Donald Trump coddles him every day, sending him COVID test kits during COVID, right? And you have a woman who also has cozied up to Assad. Now, Republicans, even MAGA Republicans on Capitol Hill, have said that has raised serious concerns, and they want to ask her about that. She has never called out Assad, who was an evil, murderous dictator. Thank God I say was. And guess who brought Assad in and protected him and his family? Guess, JD, the Russians. Yes, that's right. Vladimir Putin. So I stand by everything I've said about Tulsi Gabbard. There's plenty of evidence to back up everything that I just said.
Well,
she is unqualified.
let me just say,
she is unqualified for the position, and she is dangerous. Go ahead.
Let me say something else. She's a colonel in the Reserve National Guard and controls the National Guard of 2 states.
Which doesn't take away anything that I just said, but go ahead.
Well, yeah, but why wouldn't she be investigated by the Army if she was an asset, a dangerous, treasonous asset?
Well,
there'd be some kind of speculation or investigation.
Interesting you brought that up.
Interesting
you brought that up because she was actually on a flight list. If you can look that up, if you don't believe me,
I know the whole story about her and her husband.
Okay, so it's not like she hasn't been investigated, and it's not like there aren't a ton of concerns. And by the way, she won't talk about Assad now. She won't even bring up his name when asked about it. So yes, I'm not the only person that has these concerns. I know you might think that only me or only lefties might think that way. I'm not a lefty.
No.
Okay, then I'm misjudging you, but I'm telling you that there are a lot of Republicans and even MAGA Republicans on Capitol Hill that have serious concerns with her.
I would think that the senators, Democrats who are in charge of the chairs, and Republicans who are the next in line on the foreign affairs committees would know about any of this.
Some of them do.
When she comes up for confirmation, then maybe we'll get an up or down vote.
Well, I hope that they do that. But you mentioned
that precise issue.
You mentioned a couple other people, and I didn't bring up Kash Patel today. I think you did, but I'm happy to talk about Kash Patel with you. But I look at a guy like a Pete Hegseth, a man who is a despicable human being, who has been accused allegedly of rape, and I understand
I heard it.
I know.
I heard it.
So you dismiss all that stuff? He openly admits.
No,
that
I didn't. I only have so much time. You have mentioned Patel. He was a federal prosecutor in the U.S. Department of Justice.
And Pete Hegseth also served this country as well. Just because you're an attorney, there are millions of attorneys in this country, doesn't mean you're qualified to run the FBI. Kash Patel. Well, first of all the guy cares about is money. He's a grifter, selling his boots and his shirts. He's talked about going after people like me, going after members of the media that are not willing to say that Donald Trump won the 2020 election. How do we know this? Because he said it in a podcast. He wants to shut down the FBI headquarters and turn it into a museum. And you think that's the guy that should be running the FBI, who's only going to go after Donald Trump's enemies, including members of the media?
He's not going to shut down the FBI if he becomes the director. He just wants to maybe move some of the FBI agents in the field.
Well, he said he was going to turn that that very building. He said he was
yeah,
going to turn that very building
instead
into
of-
a museum, so we shouldn't take him for his
Instead
word
of
then.
keeping them all in Washington, D.C.
Should we go after?
And,
should we be going after members of the media that are not willing to say that Trump won the 2020 election? Because Kash Patel wants to do that. He said.
Of course not.
Okay, well, okay, I agree with you.
We
Patel said that.
we all know that there's a lot of venting and a lot of
Venting.
characters
So
on
you're
both sides that talk out of both sides of their mouth.
okay. So can you give me an example of a Democrat that's a high member of office in the Joe Biden administration that said he wants to arrest people for not agreeing with them?
I would think Adam Schiff might fall in that category.
Adam Schiff has never said he wanted to arrest Republicans because they might not agree with him on an election result. So that is completely false. Can you give me an example of a Democrat that has said the enemy within, let's go after and arrest people, either civil suits or arrest criminal charges, if they're not willing to say that Donald Trump won the 2020 election? That's what Kash Patel said 3 months ago.
How long are we going to keep milking that 2020 election cow?
You're the one,
It's over.
JD, you're the one who just brought up Kash Patel. And I'm giving you examples of things Kash Patel said. By the way, it was Patel that brought it up 3 months ago on a podcast. I'm just reiterating the things he said he wants to do if he's in charge, in this case, the FBI. He said himself 3 months ago that he wants to go after members of the media that are not willing to say that Trump won and talk about the 2020 fraud. And there was no fraud that could have changed the outcome of the election. I'm only bringing this up because you don't seem to have a problem with that.
No, I do. If that's true,
it is, JD. I'm not making it up.
I think his main beef with the media is when he worked with Nunes on diffusing and completely destroying the Russian collusion with Mueller investigation. He was intimately involved in that, and he found out all the things that the Democrats are trying to do that they manufactured in the Russian collusion with Trump prior to during the campaign in 2016 and after he was elected.
All right, so let's talk about that.
I'm happy all of it turned out to be totally baloney.
Okay, so first of all, that's not true. There's many people in that Mueller report that would say that there are multiple examples of obstruction, and even Mueller under oath said that as well. So I would disagree with your characterization, number one. Number two, you talked about you have a problem with people that manufacture things, okay? Let's talk about that for a moment. When the man who you supported and voted for manufactured a claim that the election was stolen, did you have a problem with that? Did you have a problem with the 8 investigations into Benghazi when Hillary Clinton was accused of crimes and Republicans?
You want to stay on one question at a time?
Okay. Do you have a problem with Republicans?
You started off with the 2020 election.
Sure. Do you have a problem with that manufacturing, as you pointed out? Were you crying to high heaven?
Well, the full spectrum of the election is not what Trump says as far as being cheating is what have you. The things that happened prior to the election with the Pennsylvania legislature, with the Supreme Court in Wisconsin, how they changed the rules, how they changed the election law.
Said the election was stolen and the Democrats cheated. That is a manufactured statement. You don't have a problem with that statement?
He's speaking in broad terms that you and I don't understand.
No. He's speaking. No. I understand
all the things that were done.
I understand
all the things that were done pre-election.
I understand it very clearly, and I'll explain it to you. And if you disagree, that's fine. I understand it very clearly, and I'm going to speak in truths here very clearly. If Donald Trump loses, the election was rigged. If Donald Trump wins, we don't have to have the conversation of election integrity and everything went well. It's very simple, JD. He loses, it's rigged and they cheated. He wins, everything worked out great. Why is that so hard for you to admit?
Well, there were so many irregularities regarding to the drop boxes. How about Zuckerberg? $419 million into the inner city.
Not true.
To get the vote out.
There's no. Oh, really? Did you have a problem with Elon Musk giving $1 million to people to register to vote for Donald Trump? I didn't hear you complaining about that. You want to talk about Mark Zuckerberg and you laugh? Did you have a problem with Elon Musk weeks before the election?
Yes, I did. I thought it was stupid.
Okay. Well, so that's just stupid, but you don't want to bring that up, but when it comes to Zuckerberg,
brought it up. I can't.
Because I'm bringing up your hypocrisy. That's why, JD.
before I forget, where's Meathead? Where's Chris Wynn? I miss him.
Well, I don't know where Chris is. You could give him a call and you could ask him, my friend. I appreciate the call,
You don't
JD.
have him on your show?
I appreciate the call, JT. 702-221-7283 is the number to call. So let's talk about Mark Zuckerberg. He gave $419 million to inner city youth. I don't know, whatever JD was bringing up. But when it comes to Elon Musk and $1 million, millions of dollars, giving people $1 million to vote for Donald Trump, oh, well, that was stupid. But let's move on. Let's talk about something else. He has a problem with people manufacturing issues and problems and lies. Okay, that's the entire Republican Party today. They manufacture stuff about drag queen reading, like the sky is falling. They manufacture stuff about trans women going into women's bathrooms. They're all going to assault you. They manufacture things about illegals. They make it sound like every person in this country that's illegal is going to rape your children and kill your family. The entire Republican Party manufactures things. They want to blame Joe Biden for all of their problems, for their hangnail. Forget about the war in the Middle East. Forget about the war in the Ukraine. Inflation up all over the world. But let's manufacture, to use JD's terms, that it's all Joe Biden's fault. They want to manufacture everything. The entire Republican Party is the manufactured party. They want to manufacture the fact that Joe Biden has committed crimes and he's a war criminal. They want to manufacture the fact that all the problems in the world are all Joe Biden's fault. But then when Donald Trump takes office, let's blame George Soros. Yeah, okay. The man who manufactures $3 Bibles in China and sells them for $60 here. Yeah, okay, that guy. Yeah, all right, JD.